miśraṁ means sometimes there is, because all qualities of the material nature is helping me to misidentify my position. Oh. And the lower stage, just like animals, the dog, and the lower stage of tamagun, unnecessarily, go, where, I'm here, why you are coming? You see? So this is the lowest stage of tamagun. There is no offense, still he'll disturb people. So tamagun is lowest stage, little more passion, rajagun, beware of the dog. He does not make go, but he points out, here is dog, please don't come. Similarly, sattvaṁ also, Mr. Satan says, you cannot see without engagement. So, these things are going on. The influence of three modes of material nature. So these things are not there. They do not require to keep a dog, neither there is dog. Just to make an idea what is Vaikuntha law. Because Vaikuntha means without anxiety. Vaikuntha. Kuntha means anxiety. And Vaikuntha means without anxiety. See, if you have no anxiety, what is the use of keeping cow, keeping dog, for making go? You have no anxiety. Just like in Japan, the practice is generally, they say that there is no thief.
Yes.
Eh?
Yes.
So, actually, if there is no thief, where is the cause of anxiety? If there is no burglar, thieves, rogues, it is the duty, actually. It is the duty of the king to see that there should be no thieves. People should be anxiety-free. That is good, nice government. People, Yudhishthira Maharaj, when he was ruling, there was not even scorching heat. People are so anxiety-free, you see. Due to past activities of Maharaj Yudhishthira, there was no severe cold or scorching heat, no dangerous disease, infection. They are all free from it. It can be possible if there is good government. So here is the idea. Pravartate yatra rajastamastayu sattvaṁ miśraṁ na ca kāla-vikramaḥ. Kāla-vikramaḥ. Here we are governed by the stringent laws of time. I am getting old. Kāla-vikramaḥ. The body is getting 76 years. This means time has eaten up my duration of life, 76 years. Influence of time. You cannot avoid it. Kāla-vikramaḥ. Nagatra māyā. Māyā, illusion, is a fixed up idea. Everyone knows Lord Vishnu or Krishna is the Supreme Personality, and they are all happy by serving the Lord. Everyone is engaged. Surāsurārcitāḥ, anuvratā. They are not, they have no revolutionary spirit. Why shall I serve you? I am also God. This is revolutionary. These things are not there. The so-called rascal declaring oneself that I am God. No, anuvratā. Everyone is following. Yes, Lord. In the Vaikuntha planets, there is a very great respectful consciousness, here is Lord. But in Vrindavan, there is no such respectful consciousness, Krishna and the Kavas, Bas, Gopis, but their love is very, very intense. Out of love, they cannot disobey Krishna. Here in the Vaikuntha, out of respect, they cannot disobey. In the Vrindavan, Goloka Vrindavan, they cannot think of denying anything to Krishna. Krishna is so much lovable. They can give anything. There is no so respectful, because they do not know that Krishna is God. They know Krishna is like us, one of us. But their respect and love is so intense that without Krishna they become lifeless. There is no life. So, here we are defying Krishna, defying God, we are declaring falsely, I am God, you are God. Why you are searching God? This is God, gods are loitering in the street. You just try to search them. Why you are searching in the temple? These things are kāla-vikramaḥ, influence of time, māyā, illusion, and so many things. These things are absent. So what is the purpose? You see? And surāsurārcitāḥ, there is no more distinction between Sura and Asura. Here, Asuras, they are not devotees. They deny. So Asura, how the Asura goes there? The Asura does not go there as Asura, but he goes there as devotee. It's like Prahlāda Maharaj. He is the son of a Asura, Hiranyakashipu, therefore he is classified Asura, son of Asura. But this Asura quality is no more existing there, although he is promoted. In other words, when one is transferred to the Vaikuntha world, there is no such distinction between Sura and Asura. Otherwise, everyone is engaged in Krishna's service. So in other words, here also, anyone who is engaged in Krishna's service, it doesn't matter whether he is born in Lecture family, Javan family, or Muslim family, or Hindu family, or Brahmin family, these distinctions are completely abolished. Because the real business, everyone is mukta, liberated. He is engaged in real business, Krishna's service. What is the purpose?
The kingdom of God, or the atmosphere of Vaikuntha nature, which is called the Tripad Vibhuti, is 3 times bigger than the material universes, and is described here, as also in the Bhagavad Gita, in a nutshell. This universe, containing billions of stars and planets, is one of the billions of such universes clustered together within the compass of Mahat Tattva. And all these millions and billions of universes combined together constitute only 1/4 of the magnitude of the whole creation of the Lord. There is the spiritual sky also. Beyond the sky, the spiritual planets are there under the names of Vaikuntha, and all of them constitute 3/4 of the entire creation of the Lord. God's creations are always innumerable. Even the leaves of a tree cannot be counted by a man, nor the hairs on his head. However, foolish men are puffed up with the idea of becoming God himself, though unable to create a hair of their own body.
I have protested this God, false God consciousness in all my purpose. That is my business. To punish all these rascals. I become very much angry when one says before me, I am God, he is God. I cannot control myself. Yes, and so much obstinate enemy of these rascals. I want to kick them on their face. But it is incivility. It becomes, well, I want to feed them. That will be my pleasure. Never mind, I go to hell. Gone.
Man may discover so many wonderful vehicles of journey, but even if he reaches the moon by his much advertised spacecraft, he cannot remain there. The sane man, therefore, without being puffed up, as if he were the god of the universe, abides by the instructions of the Vedic literature, the easiest way to acquire knowledge in transcendence. So let us know through the authority of Srimad Bhagavatam, of the nature and constitution of the transcendental world beyond the material sky. In that sky, the material quality...
They are going to different planets. They cannot go. Suppose if they are going. So, taking so much trouble, expending so much money, they are trying to study. But we study within this room. Even not to Vaikuntha planet. These rascals are taking so much trouble and is still unsuccessful. And we are getting all clear ideas. Veda ishta sadbhaya home Veda. That is the perfection of Vedic literature. In a remote jungle, they are sitting, they are enjoying spiritual atmosphere and getting all information from the Vedic. How much, I want to say, fortunate we are, because we have taken shelter of this Vedic. Get all information. Is there any doubt? So why should we take so much trouble? Chant Hare Krishna, take information, be prepared, and at the time of death, think of Krishna immediately, within a second. Sattadihang panarjanmanaiti māme. Within a second, transfer. Because spirit soul is finer than the mind. So, mind can be transferred immediately within a second, millions of minds. So how much speed is there for spirit soul, you can imagine. Mind, you can immediately, you are sitting here, immediately you can transfer mind, Bombay. You are seeing, the kirtan is going on. It's practical. Manaso, Vayu, the velocity of the air, and finer than because air is gross matter, and mind is subtle matter. So, the speed of mind is far greater than the velocity of air. Here, the velocity of air is 2,000 miles per or 200 miles like that.
Of light, velocity of light?
Light or air, what is it?
Velocity of light is 5,280 miles per second.
You see? Light. Light is subtler than air. Light is fire. Light is electricity. Electricity is produced by air. So, first gross matter, this earth, and subtler than earth is water. And subtler than water is air. No, subtler than water is fire. So, electricity, you told me the velocity of electricity?
Yes, 428,000 miles per second.
Per second. So this is the third subtle matter. The fourth subtle matter is air. The air must be still greater velocity. Here, from here, just like we get radio message. In 1 second, one sound rotates 7 times. Is it not?
Speed of light goes, I think.
It's not speed of sound. You say, Krishna, this word immediately, within a second, 7 times. And that we quickly capture, you have got a message.
Yeah.
So that way there is still speedy sound. Sound is high. So, subtler than the sound is the mind. Then you can imagine how much speed is in mind. How many millions of miles it can go. And subtler than the mind is soul. So just imagine how quickly the soul can be transferred to the other world, other planets. It can be transferred by yogic sense. So it is said, taktate aham punarjanmano iti mam iti konta. The more subtler, and in the spiritual world, that is completely spiritual. There is no tinge or contamination of anything of this material embarrassment. Or ito ki apratihata. Then what is it?
In that sky, the material qualities, especially the modes of ignorance and passion, are completely absent. The mode of ignorance influences the living entity to the habit of lust and hankering, and this means that in the Vaikuntha lokas, the living entities are free from these two things, as confirmed in the...
Lust and anger. These two things completely. Then?
As confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Brahma-bhuta stage of life, one becomes free from hankering and lamentation. Therefore, the conclusion is that the inhabitants of the Vaikuntha planets are all Brahma-bhuta living entities, as distinguished from the mundane creatures who are all compact in hankering and lamentation. When one is not in the modes of ignorance and passion, one is supposed to be situated in the mode of goodness in the material world. Goodness in the material world also at times becomes contaminated with touches of the mode of passion and ignorance. In the Vaikuntha Loka, it is unalloyed goodness only. The whole situation there is one of freedom from the illusory manifestation of the external energy. Although illusory energy is also part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, still illusory energy is differentiated from the Lord. The illusory energy is not, however, false, as claimed by the monist philosophers. The rope accepted as a snake may be an illusion to a particular person, but the rope is a fact, and the snake is also a fact. The illusion of water on the hot desert may be illusion for the ignorant animals searching out water in the desert, but the desert and water are actual facts. Therefore, the material creation of the Lord may be an illusion to the non-devotee class of men, but to a devotee, even the material creation of the Lord is a fact, as the manifestation of his external energy. For this energy of the Lord is not all. The Lord has his internal energy also, which has another creation known to be the Vaikuntha Lokas, where there is no ignorance, no passion, no illusion, and no past and present. With a poor fund of knowledge, one may be unable to understand the existence of such things as the Vaikuntha atmosphere, but that does not nullify its existence. That spacecraft cannot reach these planets does not mean that there are no such planets, for they are described in the revealed scriptures. As quoted by Srila Jiva Goswami, we can know from the Narada Pancharatra that the transcendental world, or Vaikuntha atmosphere, is enriched with transcendental qualities. These transcendental qualities, as revealed through the devotional service of the Lord, are distinct from the mundane qualities of ignorance, passion, and goodness. Such qualities are non-attainable by the non-devotee class of men. In the Padma Purana, Uttarakanda, it is stated that beyond the 1/4 part of God's creation, there is the 3/4 part manifestation. The marginal line between
Let's see how we are getting information about the space. Let's see. Beyond this material sky, the space is, information of the space is there. They cannot have any information of this material space. What to speak of the spiritual space? How much our knowledge is perfect. Either we are crazy or thinking, or we are in a very secure position, then all is rested. You have to think. Clear conception of everything. Go on.
The marginal line between the material manifestation and the spiritual manifestation is the Viraja river, and beyond the Viraja, which is a transcendental current flowing from the perspiration of the body of the Lord, there is the 3/4 part manifestation of God's creation. This part is eternal, everlasting, without any deterioration, and unlimited, and contains the highest perfectional stage of living conditions. In the Sankhya Kaumudi, it is stated that unalloyed goodness, or transcendence, is just opposite to the material modes. All living entities are eternally associated without any break, and the Lord is the chief and prime entity there. In the Agama Puranas also, the transcendental abode is described as follows. The associated members there are free to go everywhere within the creation of the Lord, and there is no limit to such creation, particularly in the region of the 3/4 magnitude. Since the nature of that region is unlimited, there is no history of such association, nor is there end of it. The conclusion may be drawn that because of the complete absence of the mundane qualities of ignorance and passion, there is no question of creation, nor of annihilation. In the material world, everything is created and everything is annihilated, and the duration of life between the creation and annihilation is temporary. In the transcendental realm, there is no creation and no destruction, and thus the duration of life is eternal, unlimitedly. In other words, everything in the transcendental world is everlasting, full of knowledge and bliss, without any deterioration. Since there is no deterioration, there is no past, present, and future in the estimation of time. It is clearly stated in this verse that the influence of time is conspicuous by its absence. The whole material existence is manifested by actions and reactions of elements which make up the influence of time prominent in the matter of past, present, and future. There are no such actions and reactions of cause and effects there, so the cycle of birth, growth, existence, transformations, deterioration, and annihilation, or the 6 material changes, are not existent there. It is the unalloyed manifestation of the energy of the Lord, without any illusion, as experienced here in the material world. The whole Vaikuntha existence proclaims that everyone there is a follower of the Lord. The Lord is the chief leader there, without any competition of leadership, and the people in general are all followers of the Lord. It is confirmed in the Vedas, therefore, that the Lord is the chief leader, and all other living entities are subordinate to him. It is confirmed in the Vedas, therefore, that the Lord is the chief leader, and all other living entities are subordinate to him, as only the Lord.
So we have accepted the original leader, Krishna. Why should we follow the nonsense leader, who has no perfect knowledge? We have accepted the supreme leader. That is our advantage. Then,
as only the Lord satisfies all the needs of all other living entities.
and he is so able leader that he supplies everything. He is not a false leader. Then,
That is the end of the purport.
that's all. So stick to this leader. Don't do That's all.
Hare Krishna, devotees. So here's a lecture. It's very nice interaction between Srila Prabhupada and the devotees also. And first, let me apologize for quite a few problems right from the beginning of setting up that I experienced, but nothing surprises me. This is a material energy. Things don't always work perfectly. So in the middle, I had to change the lecture. Papavani.org indicated that it's down. I tried my cell phone and the computer, and both of them couldn't reach the place we normally reach for lectures. Last week, the whole area that I'm at, the internet was down because they were doing repairs. So this is the material world. Things are not perfect. So nobody should get disturbed when things go down in the material world because they always will. Nothing is perfect here. Perfect is in the spiritual world. So, dear devotees, this is the time to unmute yourself. If you have any questions, if you have any comments that you want to make, you certainly can do so. So, are there any questions or comments? Literally, from what I've learned in the Krishna consciousness, to remain calm when things don't go right, because the material world is like that. Not everything is going to go right. Any questions or comments? All right. So I'll talk about some of the things that I took down as notes. Oops. Okay, here we go. Again, this is right in the middle of things because I was in the background trying to get things to work because of what the issues were. Srila Prabhupada compared Vaikuntha and also the material world quite a bit in this lecture. Vaikuntha means no anxiety. Kunta actually means anxiety. So Vaikuntha is the place without anxiety. And at that time, when I started taking notes, it was talking about people keeping dogs, like watchdogs, so others can't come to the house to try to steal or do something criminal. But in the spiritual world, people don't require to keep dogs. Also, you mentioned the Maharaj Yudhishthira's time. There was no scorching heat. When we have a Raja Rishi, the whole point is the Raja Rishi, someone that elevated in Krishna consciousness as the leader, then the demigods also make the weather and everything else function very nicely. So you can tell by the weather and the things that happen, it gives you a gauge of the consciousness of the people. The more demonic the consciousness gets, the more disturbing the weather becomes. And so we can tell the situation we're in now. This is around the world now, not just only where we live. So Maharaj, Yudhishthira's time, the weather was always nice. Just like in the spiritual world, the weather is always nice. The influence of time here in this material world, it just destroys everything. Time just eats up everything. But in Vaikuntha, the Prabhupada described that everyone serves nicely. And especially the gopis and the gopas, out of love, in Golok Vrindavan, they cannot think of denying him anything. They don't know him as God, but they have the most intense love for him. There is no distinction between Sura and Asura in Vaikuntha. In the material world, the Asuras are troublesome, but not in the spiritual world. Radhanath Swami also mentioned it. They are, in fact, Asuras, but in the spiritual world, they don't cause problems. They're part of Yogamaya's plan to make all kinds of things happen in the Leelas of the Lord. So I remember one devotee asked Radhanath Swami that kind of question. Maharaj, did you say that there are asuras in the spiritual world? And Maharaj says, well, wait, when you go, you will find out. And the devotees all started laughing. But anyway, Srila Prabhupada made the point here that everything that is in the spiritual world, all the pastimes that happened there, they are perverted reflections of those type of activities in the material world also. But for the material world, it's good and bad. Whereas in the spiritual world, whatever happens is all for good, only good. Therefore, even if the asuras play a role in the spiritual world, they play a role that make things happen in a wonderful way. So they are there, but not acting demonic like those who are in the material world act. So it's all part of the leader. Anyway, so Srila Prabhupada says he's attacking false God consciousness in his purports. And he literally said that, I want to kick them in the face, but that will be incivility. The scientists spend so much money to study, but we study in one room, just the Vedic literature. We get all information. And they're spending so much money trying to go do this, do that, go different places, and of course what they get is not even nowhere near accurate. So we get all information. And if all you have to do is chant Hare Krishna at the time of death, we'll be transferred to the spiritual world. Transferred to Vaikuntha within a second. Within a second. It's even less than a second. Then he went to make some comparison. He started making some comparison. Mind is subtle matter and air is gross matter, so the mind travels faster than the air. And in the sky there's sound. Subtler than sound is mind, and subtler than mind is the soul. So if the mind can travel that fast, sitting in one place, you think about a certain area that you've been before, and immediately you're there. The mind takes the person there. Not the physical body, but basically you can have pictures of that place in the mind's eye immediately. But the soul is even more subtle than the mind. Therefore, the transfer to the spiritual world after you leave the body is very quick, quicker than even what the mind can place us there. And that's what Srila Prabhupada was making. Pradyumna was reading some parts. I took notes of some of that too, because Srila Prabhupada allowed Pradyumna to read quite a bit. Pradyumna Prabhu. So in the spiritual sky, modes of passion and ignorance are absent. And also in the Brahma Bhuta stage, they all are the Brahma Bhuta stage. There's no hankering, there's no lamentation. So hankering and lamentation are also absent. Hankering for things, you want this, you want that. Hankering sometimes generates envy, because if you hanker for something and you see that somebody else has that thing, then you begin to envy that person because he has something that you would like to have. That never happens in the spiritual world, because everything is provided. Everyone has so much access to whatever they want. The desired trees are there. Whatever you want to ask for, you can get. If you can ask for whatever you want from the desired tree, and the desired tree can supply that, what's the point in envying anyone? Just go to the desired tree and get what you want. That's all. So there's no envy. There doesn't need to be envy. If you see somebody having a particular food and you like that food, just go to this desired tree and get the food and have it yours, your own. So there never is that situation of envy. That's why the only thing that caused us to leave the spiritual world and come here is when we envied Krishna, because Krishna is central to everything. He's central to everything. And that's why some of us, based on our free will, free choice, we wished that we were in this position. And then some people are still doing that here, the Mayavadis. They think they're going to be at the position of Narayan after they read scripture for a while. The same mistake, the same disease that caused us to leave spiritual world and come to the material world, they are still living as part of their philosophy. We're going to become same as God. We wanted to be at God's position. In Christianity, it's also there. Adam and Eve, they wanted to be at position of the Lord, and they got kicked to the material world. It's very, very similar to the description given by Srila Prabhupada to how those in the spiritual world got put here in the material world. That story is very, very similar. Anyway, so in this spiritual world, there's only goodness, pure goodness. Material world, there's goodness, but it can be tinged with passion and ignorance. That is the difference. And here in the material world, people who are non-devotees, they cannot perceive a Vaikuntha atmosphere. But that does not mean that the spiritual world does not exist. just because it can't get there does not mean that it doesn't exist. But of course, they can't give us information about the spiritual world, but the Shastra does give information about the spiritual world. The spiritual world is 3/4 of all existence. And then Srila Prabhupada explained it, well, this is from Padunya. The marginal line is the Viraja River. And the Viraja River divides the material and the spiritual world. So when one is going from material to spiritual, after they pass all of the universes in the material world, you'll also experience the Viraj River. Then the spiritual atmosphere, then after the Viraj River. So the Viraj River separates. There's a pastime involving the Viraj River, but that's going to be for another time. So in the spiritual world, there's no creation and there's no destruction. Everything is everlasting. The material creation is based on actions and reactions. That's not in the spiritual world. The spiritual world, the Prabhupada also says, it has Krishna as the chief leader, and everyone is subordinate to him. So, of course, he supplies everything. So, what's the conclusion? Stick to Krishna, chant Hare Krishna, and then you go back home, and no problems. Everything works nicely, and you live happily. So that is where Krishna, Srila Prabhupada is directing us to go, and Krishna is also beckoning us to leave this material world, which at this point is so troublesome. And we can see, if you hear a little bit of the news, or if you watch a little bit of YouTube, if you care to do that, it's not so important to do that. But you find that things are just falling apart because people's minds are falling apart. Hare Krishna. All right, so Ananya Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. You raise your hand. Glory to Srila Prabhupada. Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila
Glory to Srila
Prabhupada.
Prabhupada.
Very nice class, Prabhuji. Yeah, I was just trying to understand the Brahma Bhuta stage. It looks like it's the complete self-realization, wherein a person is in complete spiritual plane. So he was comparing between material, Srila Prabhupada was comparing between the material and the Vaikuntha. So now, does Brahma Bhuta state means a person is in Sat Chit Anand? Because I know in other, now when he's talking about Vaikuntha, does he mean all spiritual world or only Vaikuntha, where the presiding deity is Vishnu, like, and Goloka is Krishna, right? So I remember you said in Brahma Jyoti there is only Sat Chit, there is no Ananda. So just wanted to know, like, does it mean Vaikuntha here means only Vaikuntha or all the spiritual worlds?
Okay, I think what you're speaking, you had asked about 3 questions, and I'll try to see if this mind can remember everything. So if I leave out something trying to answer the question, please repeat it. Okay. Yeah, because you asked quite a few. You talked about Brahmabhuta. You wanted to know what Brahmabhuta stage is, and then also, you talked. So I'll start with Brahmabhuta. Okay. Brahmabhuta, and you kind of compared it to Satchidananda. Okay, so they are connected, but they're not the same. So what is Brahmabhuta stage? When a person gets to Brahmabhuta stage, they are disconnected, especially if they're in the material world. They're disconnected at least mentally from the material world. In other words, the person is living in this world, but they're not off this world. Their consciousness is Krishna consciousness, even though they're living here. And what is the result of that? Externally, that person does not lament for anything. They don't lament because of anything that's happened. And they don't hanker for material things either. They're concentrating on bhakti yoga and not worrying too much. They know that the material world is not really home. We're only here temporarily. And so they don't hanker for anything here. And they don't lament if they don't gain anything here. Why? Because the person understands that in the spiritual world, everything is provided. Whatever they can't get here, they'll get it in so much abundance when they get back home. So they concentrate on Krishna consciousness and how to obey Guru's instructions and how to prepare to go home, rather than trying to acquire things over here. Now, Satchidananda is the nature of the soul. The soul property is it has eternal knowledge. The soul has eternal, that's us, the real person. Eternal knowledge. I mean, it is the eternal. And they're full of knowledge, all knowledge, and they are always happy. So the connection is that the person in Brahma Buddha stage is not lamenting and is not hankering. And because of no lamentation and no hankering, they remain happy. And the soul is by nature happy anyway. And of course, eternal knowledge, eternality and also full of knowledge. It's also a quality of the soul. All right, now what have I missed? Did you get, okay, that's what I remember to this too. Towards the end, what were you asking?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yeah, my question was like when he says Vaikuntha, does it mean the other spiritual world or is it just Vaikuntha? Like, I know Vaikuntha
Yeah.
is different from Goloka, right? So just wanted to understand that.
Okay. So the spiritual sky, when it mentions Vaikuntha, sometimes it mentions generally. Vaikuntha meaning 3/4 of all existence, and then the material world is 1/4 of all existence. So past the Viraj River, then the spiritual sky is there and the spiritual planets are all there. Now, Golok Vrindavan is one planet in the spiritual world where Krishna is. And the other planets, Vaikuntha planets, each one has Lord Narayan as the chief leader. And he's worshipped in awe and reverence. Whereas in Golok Vrindavan, there are different varieties of ways to relate to Krishna. Golok Vrindavan is a planet in the spiritual world. It's not outside the spiritual world. It's part of the spiritual sky. Its one property is that it's the biggest planet in the spiritual sky. And that's the place where there's not relation to the Lord in awe and reverence, but there's a relationship in neutrality, in servitorship, in friendship, in parental relationship, in conjugal. You can't get those, especially friendship. That is the Sakya Ras, the Vatsalya Ras parent, and then the lover. You cannot be a lover of Narayan in any of the spiritual planets in Vaikuntha. You cannot be. The goddess of fortune has that position. You cannot compete with the goddess of fortune and become a lover of Lord Narayan like that. No. And Lord Narayan doesn't play a role of being a son to anybody. So there's no Vatsalya Ras there either. And he is the Lord, so he's worshiping awe and reverence, not like a friend, the way the cowherd boys, interface with Krishna, for lack of a better word. So that is the difference. There's more versatility in expression of love in Golok Vrindavan and the other planets. Although they are wonderful places to live, their relation with the Lord is that of respect, awe, and reverence, like that. But they are all in the spiritual world. Hare Krishna. Hopefully that's clear.
Yes, Prabhu. Just a quick question, following
Sure,
question. Like, so
sure.
my understanding is Brahma Bhuta stage is when you're in this material world, right? You have that consciousness of
Yeah,
self-realization or
yeah.
uplift. Yeah. Okay.
Well, in the material world, there's a slight difference. In the material world, one may be in lamenting and also in anxiety, but if you come to Krishna consciousness, then they can gradually get away from being, hankering and also lamenting. Then they are in the Brahma Buddha state. So it's true purification. It's true Krishna consciousness. This is what we're going through. That we get finally to that stage of the Brahma Buddha stage where they know Krishna is everything. Krishna protects me. I don't have to worry about anything. I don't have to lament for anything. Nothing here in the material world excites me because I don't live here anyway. And if I wanted it, I'll have to die and leave it anyway. So all of that they understand. So they don't worry about the material things. Now, the Brahma Buddha state is automatic for those who live in the spiritual world. It's automatic. We try to, among those in the material world, even devotees, non-devotees are always in lamentation. They don't even get to the Brahma Buddha stage ever. But the devotees who are, again, following Krishna consciousness, following the order of Guru, following the order of Krishna, and building themselves up in terms of being purified, they get to the Brahma Buddha stage eventually. It is common. Brahma Buddha stage is just part of the way they live in the spiritual world. So they don't have to get to that stage. They're like that already. Hare Krishna. That's the difference. Okay. Hare, I hope that was helpful. So, any other questions or comments? If not, then thank you very much for coming on, and apologize on behalf of technology falling apart sometimes. Work to do. So have a wonderful day. Now tomorrow is Thursday, so make sure you come to the temple. We have the program there, which is Balaram Jayanti. If I'm Dear Krishna, is that correct? It's Balaram Jayanti tomorrow? I think so.
Yes, Prabhuji, yes. Hare Krishna.
All right, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Yeah, so please come tomorrow. There will also be the last day of our swing festival. So I think the arrangement will be made again to have Sri Radha Bihari brought to the temple, and we'll have that swing festival, and also Balaram there. So it's a couple, 2 programs there tomorrow evening. To come by 6:30, should be there. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you also. I see your electronic thank yous. Hare Krishna. Glories to Guru.